Hello, everybody, and welcome to the June edition of the Women Techsters Open Day. I am so thrilled to be here, and I'm so glad you are here also. So I'll just like for us to, communicate on the chat, tell us your name, where you're joining us from, and what expectations you have for today's session. I can see so many people joining us already. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are thrilled to have everyone here. So please let's meet you, your name, where you're joining us from, what expectations you have for all of our speakers and all of our guests who are here already on today's session. So please let's meet you in the chat section. Hi everyone. Once again, you're welcome to the June edition of the Women Techsters Open Day. So please, we'll be making use of the webinar chat section for all of our interactions. So please, let's get to meet you. Just type your name, where you're joining us from, what expectations you have for today's session. I would like to believe that, coming for today's session, you had a lot of things that you were expecting, and I'd like to see the chat buzzing. Okay, I can see someone say, hi, my name is Emanuela. Hi, Emanuela, nice to meet you. Where are you joining us from? What country? What expectations do you have for today? Okay, I can see someone from Ghana. She says, hi, my name is Alberta Bowie from Ghana. Nice to meet you. Hi, I'm stepping up from Lagos, Nigeria. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. I love the energy I'm seeing in the chat. Okay. Hi, Victoria. Hi. Okay, I can see Angela Oluchi saying greetings, everyone. Oluchi Nwako joining from Bayelsa, Nigeria. Hello. Nice to meet you. Hi, Sandy from Botswana. Hi, how's Botswana today? She says, looking forward to learning how to pick specific skills to learn. Wow, that's really interesting. Okay, so Manuela says she's from Nigeria. Nice to meet you. Hi, Lynette. Okay, Lynette is from Kenya. One of our speakers is also from Kenya. Hi, Lynette. How is Kenya today? What expectations do you have for today's meeting? Okay, I can see someone from South Africa. She says, hi, my name is Tekeletso. I hope I pronounced that right. Pardon me if I did not. From South Africa, how is South Africa doing today? And I can see someone also from South Africa, but I'm not sure of the pronunciation, so I would not want to butcher any. But hello, we can see you. Hi, Joanne from Abuja, Nigeria. How are you doing? What expectations do you have? I can see Olaide also from Lagos, Nigeria. I can see Sabina from South Africa. I can see Victoria also from Nigeria. I'd just like to see, oh, hi, Lynn. Lynn is from Uganda. How is Uganda today? Our moderator is also from Uganda. So what expectations do you have for today? What would you like to learn? We have, industry experts already on the call who would love to, impart knowledge to us. So I would like to hear, okay, I can see Angela saying my expectations is to know the various opportunities in data science. And that is very, very good because we have one of our speakers who is a data analyst, a Power BI specialist actually. And, she's going to talk about data science, getting in and, expectations and everything to have, okay? Good evening, everyone. My name is Adeni Bere. I hope I pronounced that right. Pardon me if I didn't. Joining from Nigeria. My expectations as learn is too about the tech code. That is good. That is good. I can see Adiola Praise from Lagos, Nigeria also. So let's just take a few. What exactly would you like to learn? Okay, I can see Daniela saying she's from Gabon, but she's currently staying in Ghana. Nice to meet you, Daniela. What would you like to learn from today's session? Okay, I can see someone say, my name is Shion. I'm joining from Nigeria. I would love to hear stories from women in tech and also open to learning skills. Wow, that is actually very, very beautiful. So yes, I can see Ursula also from Lagos, Nigeria. So thank you so much, everyone, for being so engaging and for letting us know what your expectations are, because the speakers on this call are ready to meet those expectations. I can see Rashid also saying, I expect to be enlightened more about navigating tech. Well, Rashid, you are in the right place. And I'd just like to take the welcome address in place of the Women Techsters lead, who is unavoidably absent today. So I'd like to welcome everyone once again to the Women Techsters and June edition Open Day. Thank you so much for coming here. Thank you so much for honoring our invite. And we would like to especially thank all of our speakers for their time and their efforts. Thank you so much to all of our speakers. Thank you for accepting our invite, and thank you for joining us on this course to impact the lives of young African women. And quickly, I'll just go into what we do at Tech for Dev, and most especially the Women Techsters. So the Women Techsters is an initiative of Tech for Dev, and Tech for Dev stands for Technology for Social Change and Development Initiative. It was founded in 2016, and it was founded with the mandate to empower Africans with skills necessary to create access to decent jobs and entrepreneurship. So under that, we have the Women Techsters Initiative, which has some sub-programs under it, one of which is what you are here today, which is the Women Techsters Open Day. And the Women Techsters Open Day basically is an avenue. It's one of our advocacy drives, and it's an avenue for you to learn from industry experts who have gone ahead to create a tech career for themselves, so that you can learn how they were able to start, what resources were useful to them, what mistakes to avoid, what challenges you probably would face, and just how to overcome them. So that's what we'll be doing in today's session. And of course, from the Open Day, once you are done with the Open Day and you really want to begin your career in tech, we have the Women Techsters Bootcamp for you. Now, the Women Techsters Bootcamp is a 3-week training, and it gives you the opportunity to learn about some of the learning tracks that we have here at the Women Techsters. You get a starter course as to, okay, what this is about. For instance, if you want to go into cybersecurity, what cybersecurity is about, necessary skills that entail it. And it's 3 weeks, it's a boot camp, but still you get to learn 1 or 2 things about it. And of course, from the Women Techsters Bootcamp, we have the Women Techsters Fellowship, which is an intensive 1-year training divided into 6 weeks of mentorship, 6 months rather of training, and of course 6 months of mentorship. And we have the application. So we have for those who have either been following us on social media, or you probably are familiar with some of our posts, you know that the Women Techsters Fellowship application recently closed. It was open in April. It was open in April, and we had quite a number of people register for it. And one good thing about the Women Techsters Fellowship is it gives you so many opportunities for teamwork, for collaboration. You'll be meeting women across various African countries. So you learn a lot about soft skills, optimizing your social media, and so on. And of course, we have the Women Techsters Masterclass, which is for tech enthusiasts with at least 6 months to about 5 years experience in the tech field. And we recently had a masterclass actually last weekend. It was data science. It was a data science focused masterclass, and it was impactful, I can say that. So yes, I'll go with the Women Techsters is to reach at least 5 women, by the year 2030. And this is just one of the initiatives that we are currently using to ensure that we achieve those goals. So if you'd like to know more, of course, make sure you stick till the end of this session. And of course, you should be following us on social media just in case you are not. So quickly, we'll be moving quickly. And I'd just like to say 3 important things that you should have as you are here in this session. First, you need to ensure that you have a very good network so that you don't lose out on any aspect of the training at any point in time. Another thing, and that very important thing you should have is your material, your writing materials. Make sure that you have all your writing material, your pen, your book, so that you write down. And the last is for you to make sure that you take action. I mean, you're not just coming here to just listen. Ensure that even after this, you take necessary action. All right, so we are moving straight into it. And at this point, I'd just like to welcome someone amazing, someone brilliant. She's the epitome of excellence and the brain behind what we do here at Tech for Dev. And I would just like to welcome our awesome executive director in person of Deora Oladapo. Hi, Deora.
Hi, thank you very much. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
yes.
Great. Thank you so much. I mean, I can see a lot of, I'm just looking at my screen. on the side, and I can see a lot of like enthusiastic women here, just really super excited to be here. I think the last time I was on an open day program was about 2-3 months ago. So I'm excited to be back. I know Blessing originally was supposed to take the welcome address, and I saw her join in, and I just wanted to use that opportunity to say hi, Blessing. Blessing is the Women Techsters program lead and recently just got into the Mandela Washington Fellowship. So she's pretty much been in transit between 2 days ago and yesterday, just sort of like getting settled down in her leadership institute in the US. But aside from that, I just wanted to say a huge welcome to everyone. I mean, thank you so much for joining the June 2023 edition of the virtual Women Techsters Open Day program. We're super excited and elated to have you, all of you wonderful women from across Africa. I see women from Nigeria, from Cameroon, from South Africa, pretty much from quite across the continent here today. And we're just excited to have you join us, to learn how to pursue your interest in technology. I would especially like to welcome all of you as prospective women techsters who have joined us today to learn about how you can start your career in tech through our Open Day program. I usually would not start without doing this, and I do this all the time. I'd like to run you through some highlights from our Women Techsters program. So in April, we ran a call for application for the cohort 2.6 bootcamp. And out of the 7,194 applications we received, 2,432 of those women across 15 African countries were accepted into the program. Classes began early May, and after 3 weeks of training, group projects, and showcasing practical skills, which can be used to solve real-life problems at the demo day, we had 970 women graduate from the cohort 2.6 bootcamp. For all the people who are unable to participate in the last cohort, here is good news for you. Call for applications for Women Techsters Bootcamp cohort 2.7 is actually ongoing at the moment, and you can take advantage of this opportunity to kickstart your tech career and enhance your skills in 5 learning tracks: product design, product management, software development, cybersecurity, and data science. Since the inception of Women Techsters Fellowship, we have recorded numerous success stories of women, mothers, daughters, wives, students, and workers who have defied the odds and paved the way for themselves in the ever-evolving technology space. And as such, on the 27th of April 2023, we opened the call for application for the 2024 Women Techsters Fellowship. We actually call them the class of 2024. And we ran this application for 6 weeks, and this is about a month and a half. And we recorded a reach of over 122,913 women from across Africa who wanted to be a part of the fellowship program. Furthermore, this year, we're launching into 7 new African countries. I'm super excited, which is in addition to our current 15 countries of operation, which will make a total of 22 countries. They are Nigeria, Ghana, Ethiopia, Egypt, DR Congo, Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, Madagascar, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Algeria, South Sudan, Morocco, Angola, Mozambique, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Rwanda, Gambia, and Botswana. The Women Techsters is made possible through our organization Tech for Dev. Tech for Dev is a non-profit organization that creates access to decent work and entrepreneurship opportunities and platforms for Africans. And we do this through digital skills empowerment and advocacy. Our vision is to equip Africans with digital and life skills that foster economic prosperity, financial freedom, and sustainable development. The Women Techsters program is an initiative of Tech for Dev that aims to bridge the digital divide between men and women in the technology ecosystem. Through our pilot program, the Nigerian Women Techsters, we enabled almost 3,000 women between the ages of 16 to 40 across Nigeria over a period to ignite interest in pursuing careers and businesses in technology. Driven by the success story of numerous women from Nigerian Women Techsters program, like Fatima, Tommy, Patience, amongst others, we carved a new ambition and dream to replicate this model across Africa, providing more women access to opportunities to launch careers and businesses in technology. Our dream by 2030 is to reach 5 million women in Africa by empowering them with the knowledge and skills to partake in the technology industry in Africa and the world at large. We believe that empowering change for women across Africa, as well as providing opportunities to access employment and entrepreneurship, will help to achieve a 50-50 male to female ratio balance in the technology space. The Women Techsters Open Day, which is why we're here today, is a monthly virtual program organized for women across Africa to learn about leveraging the power of technology to start and advance their careers, and also create technology and technology-enabled businesses. The Open Day is an opportunity for women, and all of you women here, to interact with other successful women who are going to be the panelists today, who have built careers and businesses in technology over the years, and who will share from their personal experiences, speak about possible career paths and business opportunities, and help all of you appreciate the importance of acquiring digital and deep tech skills in this digital age. I definitely will not end this without appreciating our wonderful partners, Microsoft and the Islamic Development Bank, for collaborating with us to make this initiative and bring this initiative to life. We look forward to continually impacting and improving the economic realities of women across Africa. Finally, I would like to say a big thank you and appreciate everyone for being here today. All the women that are here today, you guys are superstars, you're MVPs. And I'm super glad that you're here to commence your journeys to becoming women in tech. And I would not end without saying a huge thank you to our guest speakers, Liz Ann, Shungu, Judith, and our moderator, Tamali, for taking time out of your very busy schedules. These are busy women, you can trust me. If I tell you they're busy women, they're extremely busy women who have just come here to share stories of their journey as women in tech. I look forward to a wonderful conversation. I'm going to be in the background, just listening and checking out the chat. Thank you very much, and right over back to you, Ore.
Thank you very, very much, Deora, for that. And, just to further buttress on some of the things that Deora has talked about, we would be quickly showing us a video of, just one of us who has been able to go ahead and make use of some things after being a member, after taking one of our classes. All right, and here we go. Please pardon me, just think my screen is frozen. Just give me a moment while I try to get this working. Okay.
My name is Fatima Ahmed. I'm from Ilorin, Kwara State. I studied chemistry from the University of Ilorin, but now I'm a woman in tech. Getting a job in Nigeria is very difficult. After my National Youth Service program, I was at home for like 5 to 6 months, writing CVs, applying for jobs, and the highest I got was callbacks, which was very frustrating. I was talking to a friend about the difficulties of getting a job in Nigeria, and he was telling me about the opportunities in tech. Coincidentally, at that time, another friend of mine was telling me about how she went to the Nigerian Women Techsters program, where she learned how to code and build websites. Seeing what she could do, I was motivated to apply for the Nigerian Women Techsters program. The training was for 12 weeks. I learned technical skills, building websites, writing codes. I also learned soft skills, communicating effectively, working in teams. It made me more effective in what I do today. Coming for the training, I just felt that, okay, I'll just learn some new skills, then have to go back home to apply for other jobs. But during the training, I started getting a lot of job opportunities, and here I am today. I have a good job, and I am glad I took the bold step to come for the Nigerian Women Techsters training. I currently work as a technical support engineer at Tech Experts, where I provide cloud-based solutions. I want to use this opportunity to encourage other young women out there who are looking for jobs to empower themselves with tech skills and take advantage of opportunities like this.
With partners like Microsoft, we've been able to train over 2,475 women in coding and deep tech skills across 12 states in Nigeria. And all this training was done for free. Over the next 10 years, we will train 5 million women across Africa by 2030, and we're looking for partners who could join us on this journey.
All right. So I'm sure that that must have inspired one or two persons here. So quickly, let's just move into why we are here. So yes, we have all of our speakers here already. So I'll just quickly pulling up their bio and I would be reading it. Okay. So I'll just start with Judith. So if your mom is a product designer with a background in front-end development, she brings a unique combination of her technical expertise and design thinking to her work. Her ability to understand and translate her users' needs into a seamless experience sets her apart. Outside of our work, Judith advocates for diversity and inclusion in the tech industry and leads the Atlassian community in Lagos. She actively promotes equal opportunities for underrepresented groups looking to make their mark in the field. Her commitment to fostering an inclusive design community extends beyond her day job. So that's one of our speakers. She's Ifioma, who is a product designer. And I'm going to our next speaker quickly. Lizanne Curry D'Souza is a senior product management leader with over 15 years of experience in developing and commercializing products in financial services, payments, and customer engagement. In her recent role as VP of product for Flutterwave, she led a 20-plus team to build and grow cross-border payment services for enterprise merchants and digital payment solutions for small businesses. Lizanne joined Flutterwave from Visa, where she led a value-add services line of business for the CEMEA region. Prior to Visa, Lizanne held several positions in retail payment services with BMO Financial Group, including roles in corporate strategy. Lizanne is currently based in Nairobi, Kenya, and serves as an advisor to startups in fintech. Lizanne holds a master's of business administration from the Rotman School of Management, University of Toronto, and a Bachelor of Arts summa cum laude in economics and international relations from Clark University, Massachusetts, USA. Lizanne is a certified member of Scrum Alliance. All right, and to our third speaker, Chingu Dlamini. Chingu Dlamini is a seasoned business intelligence professional with over 7 years of experience in empowering organizations to make data-driven decisions and enhance operational efficiency through the development of robust business intelligence tools. The diverse background spanning various industries, including manufacturing, education, fintech, and data and IT counseling, Chingu has accumulated a wealth of knowledge and expertise in harnessing the power of data to drive business growth. Throughout Chingu's career, she has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to helping companies transform raw data into actionable insights, enabling executives and teams to comprehensively understand their operations, identify trends, and proactively respond to market changes. By leveraging her seasoned analytical skills and strong business acumen, Chingu has consistently delivered measurable results and optimized process for her clients and employers. Her proficiency extends to various aspects of the business intelligence landscape, including data modeling, data visualization, and data mining. With a deep understanding of industry-leading tools and techniques, Chingu possesses the ability to identify and implement the most suitable solutions for each organization's unique requirements. Her approach combined with suitable solutions for each organization's requirements. Shingu's approach combines technical excellence with a strong focus on stakeholder collaboration, ensuring that the business intelligence solutions they develop align seamlessly with business objectives and user needs. She actively engages in professional development opportunities, attend conferences and meetups, collaborate with peers to remain at the cutting edge of business intelligence practice. And of course, down to our moderator, Somali Piwan. Somali is a software developer with 3 years of experience in designing and building highly innovative solutions in fintech and banking industry. Her experience in technology spans Android development, Laravel development, and UI design. This August, she joins Carnegie Mellon University Africa as a graduate student in the fall 2023 semester. She is passionate about sharing her experience navigating a career in technology and has spoken at the MUBS GDSC Tech Day and GDG DevFest Mbarara to inspire others, starting their career in technology to go after their dream with confidence. You can see we have a truckload of, amazing people here. So right about now, I'll be passing the baton over to our moderator, Somali. Hi, Somali.
Hi, Yuri. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I am good.
All right, over to you.
All right. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and thank you to everyone who has joined us on the call today. As you can see, we've got an expert panel today to share their experience with you, to inspire you and give you some pointers on how to start and continue your career in tech. So I'll get this started real quick, and my first question will be to Judith. So I'd like to take us back in time and walk us down memory lane. Judith, do you remember the first time you used a computer? And if so, did that experience influence you to be the person you are today and have a career in STEM?
Thank you very much. My name is Judith. The first time I used a computer was actually, when I used a computer actually was 2011. That was when I operated a computer. Prior to that, like I've seen computers, but then I don't have access to them. And coming down to my house, we don't have any. We only maybe look up to other maybe families that have computer, but in my house, we don't have computer. So, but 2011, after finishing my secondary school, I was able to go for a 6 months training, right? Because then, like, we didn't really have that opportunity where I was coming from to maybe study computer in school. So after your normal school, secondary school, you go for a separate 6 months training where they will expose you to computer. And I could remember then, like, they were teaching stuff like CorelDRAW, Publisher, making use of Microsoft Word, and also playing some games on how to type. So after that training, it actually exposed me to a lot, because even after dismissal of the program, I still stay back and help the owner of the place to maybe do some works like typing, helping her to type, do some typing jobs and the rest. And actually, that was also my first time of being exposed to internet, because like I said, I wasn't exposed to those things, even though in schools, like they have labs where you see those computers, but then you don't have access to it. We only go into that lab when maybe maybe when all these governments, all these top people in the government come to the school to do some supervision. Like they just select some people and just keep us in front of the laptop and take pictures, and that's the end of the whole thing. So we didn't really have access to it, maybe operating it and the rest. So after staying back to type for the lady, I picked interest in computer. And then that was when we had all these Symbian phones. So I was actually interested in knowing how to, press phones, knowing how to, from phone to computer and the rest. And when I purchased later on when I also went, purchased my JAM form, I had to go for computer science, because then too, like, I don't know how, but in my area, like everybody was seeing, like, if you're a woman, the next thing after secondary school is for you to go into nursing, because they felt like, oh, nursing was giving everybody money, you have the opportunity to travel out of the country and the rest. But after going for that program, I had to change my mind that I'm not doing any nursing again, because that was what, let's say, my parents and my teachers was actually pushing for. But after the training, I picked interest in computer and everything, and that was how I purchased my form. And luckily for me, I got admitted into the university. Yeah, so that's it for me.
All right, Judy, thank you so much for sharing your story. What I've picked is that you don't need to start from the very beginning when you have everything that you need to start your career in tech. You start small and keep building with what you have.
Yes, as long as you have like that zeal to learn, being curious also helped me a lot, because it was when I didn't have access till after secondary school. So, but then from that training, I was always like willing to know more and all. So my curiosity actually exposed me to the whole thing. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Judith. So curiosity is everything, and passion too.
Yes.
All right, thank you. So my next question will be for Shongo. So what was your first role in tech, and how did you transition from that role to where you are now as a BI analyst?
Hi, Somali, thank you. Thank you so much for that. And by the way, I'm very impressed by what Tech for Dev and Women Techsters is doing. Super, super impressed. So when it comes to my first role, I started out as a systems analyst, and this is back when I was still in Zimbabwe, because that's where I'm originally from. When I then moved to South Africa, I got my first job, and I got what I could. If you're an immigrant, you understand such stories. I got this job, and part of my role included reporting. But the sort of reporting was, nice to have reporting and stuff like that. But one day, being the curious person that I am, whilst doing reporting, I uncovered something that I thought was very interesting and could potentially increase revenue if it was taken heed of. So I highlighted this to the person that I was working for, and I said, look, it looks like if we go through this route or sell more of this, we could potentially increase our revenue instead of wasting resources and manufacturing things that are not selling as much as we would hope they would. Unfortunately, that didn't pan out as much as well as I would wanted it to. But that was good because it made me super curious. So I started now crawling the internet about, I think this is actually important. Why wouldn't you want to know how to increase your revenue? So I started researching, and then I realized, oh, actually, there are organizations that need something like this. They pay attention to it. And then what I did was just found out what is the role of someone who does this, right? And then I bumped into data analyst. And from there, I started looking at job descriptions of data analysts and just noticing what it is that they look for. And then I went out, did a lot of online courses. Back then, I think I was using Coursera and EDX, or is it edX? And yeah, basically you could say I started a data analyst career for free, just based on my curiosity. Yeah.
All right, Sugar, thank you so much for sharing. So you mentioned some courses, you mentioned EDX and Coursera. So we have a lot of people on this call who are passionate about becoming data scientists and analysts. So what are some of the technical skills that you feel they need, and what resources would you recommend for the same?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that question again. Yeah, it's very interesting that lots of people are super excited about data science, and rightly so. Firstly, what I would suggest as technical skills to have if you want to work in data is, believe it or not, learning Microsoft Excel. So that is the most basic, and you can do a lot with it. The only thing I've realized in industry is that people don't know the power that Microsoft Excel has. So if you want to get started, I can promise you, if you learn Microsoft Excel, the good thing about Microsoft is they have a Microsoft Learn, which you can go on there for free. Learn Excel, you can get a junior data analyst position, for example. And as you grow in your role and in the insights that you need to uncover and the number of stakeholders you need to engage with, learn SQL. So SQL is a database language where it is used to communicate with company databases. So learn SQL. And again, as you move on, try and look for a business intelligence tool. There are a lot that are popular in industry. I would suggest to keep it simple. Look for one tool, learn that, because if you learn one tool, then it's easy to move or to learn another tool. There are several popular ones. And I'm biased because I'm a specialist in this one. You can learn Microsoft's Power BI. You can learn Tableau. You can learn Looker, that's from Google. You can learn ClickSense. There's a lot, but just find one, because the moment you want to learn everything at once, then you become inundated and frustrated. And again, as you move on, I would suggest learn a language for data analysis or statistics, which would popular ones are Python and R. Yeah.
All right, Shango, thank you so much for sharing that. That's quite the list. And we're hoping if you could just share a brief list, maybe on the chat with us. And for the audience on the call who have questions, please add those to the Q&A segment of the call. We'll try our best to answer all of them. And if we don't answer them on the call, we will get back to you after the call. So that list, that technical skill list must have been a bit intimidating. So to lighten things up, what's the best part about being a data scientist to you?
So yeah, so believe it or not, right? What I really enjoy about my role is seeing what I've produced being used by business. So and it can be, don't be intimidated by that list. It can be in Excel, okay? It can be in whatever tool, Python or whatever you want to focus on. What I've realized is that it really is not the tech, it's the value that you're giving to the business or to your stakeholder or your client, whoever that is. So what I really enjoy is the impact that what I have produced has on business.
All right, thank you so much, Shungo. So I'd like to move on to our next speaker, that is Lizanne. So Lizanne, we've been through your portfolio and it's quite broad. Yes, but what's interesting is that your background, your educational background is actually in economics and international relations. So for the audience to just get to know you, maybe what you do, and how did you transition from your educational background into tech, and why did you choose product management?
Yeah, so I actually started off my career as an analyst doing research. And while I loved, that part of it, I didn't feel like it was tangible enough that I could actually see something come to life and you could build something and you could literally touch and feel it, right? Which is why I was always gravitating to product because I felt like you could own something, you could build something, you could see it transform, you could make changes and see how it does in the marketplace. And that led me into tech. I actually was very fortunate to start my career in consulting, and it sort of gave me a really good exposure to a number of different industries, a number of different types of roles. And I could see that product management roles actually combined quite a bit of everything. As a product management professional, you do a little bit of marketing, you do a little bit of tech, you do a little bit of operations, finance, and everything kind of comes together in that one role to make a product successful. And you have to liaise with a number of different experts in your organization. But at the end of the day, you end up being that nexus point and that culmination point. So that's how I got into product management. It was just the variety of the work that you do. Not one day is the same any day. And I stayed in product management because as you grow in this role, it becomes very interesting. You get to do some really good high-level strategy at the 30,000-foot level. But at the same time, you then have to get into the weeds and get down into the implementation of that work. And so that, oscillation between high-level strategy and hands-on implementation always keeps the job really interesting.
All right, thank you so much for sharing that, because I think that we have a lot of people who are not from a very technical background who would want to get into tech. Mm-hmm. And I think that your story inspires them. Yes. So you also mentioned talking about some very high level work and high level tasks in your roles. What are some of the challenges that you think you've faced as a woman in tech, especially working so high up in these organizations?
I think there are a number of challenges that you would face at any level of the organization being a woman. and in any industry for that matter. There's always that balance of home life and your professional career. And I always think that to be true, it's never ever a perfect balance. And I think it's important that people coming into the workforce and who are starting out in their professional lives are not misled that you can have that perfect balance. The reality is it doesn't exist. It's usually an oscillation between work and home, and somehow you kind of hope that it all evens out in the end. Some days you're going to be over-indexing on your professional career. Some days you're going to be over-indexing at home. And the reality is you've just got to be able to accept that. So I think it's also just recognizing that you don't have to be that hard on yourself. There are not going to be times when everything works out perfectly, but it's having that self-awareness to accept that, make a plan to do something differently the next time to be able to make it work for you, and then go on, right? And take that in stride.
All right, Lizanne, thank you so much for sharing. What I'm hearing is that your drive is everything that should keep you going, but you should remember to be easy on yourself as you go along. Thank you. Thank you. But even then, are there any other challenges that you've faced on your journey in technology that you'd like to share with maybe the people on the call? Give them some pointers.
Yeah. A big learning, and perhaps as you grow in this career, because of the evolving nature of technology, I think the one thing that you need to be super aware of is that things are going to change and you need to be really comfortable with it. I'll give you an example. And over the last 10 years, technology has radically transformed how people's careers or how they think about their careers. And when I was at Visa in around 2015, that was the time when Visa started first adopting the concept of APIs and being able to publish APIs and open up their capabilities to the public. So essentially democratizing access to those capabilities. And it was a very, very different ballgame from what the traditional Visa was used to, where it was only clients who were signed on to Visa that had access. And so this, as a product owner, really caused us to, and caused me personally, to think about things very differently and to do it pretty quickly. Because now you suddenly had a whole bunch of people out there who had access to capabilities that were previously only with a very few small cohort of people. And they were thinking really fast and hard about what they could be doing with these capabilities, what they could be building on top of it. And as a product owner, you have to be able to adapt and make sure that you were staying ahead of the game. You were delivering things that were of value to the market, and you were really having your sights on what are clients' pain points, what do people really need, and how can I deliver that in the fastest way. So I think that was a big turning point, actually, in the industry in payments, especially for the global networks. And I feel like, the big takeaway from that is to always be flexible, to always accept that there is change coming, and to continuously educate yourself on what happens next, right? It's never enough to just say, okay, I've completed my degree, I've done a little bit of training, and now I'm going to go into the workforce. The reality is that tech is changing rapidly, and you have to stay on top of new developments. You have to stay abreast of new technology, new concepts, and make sure that you're still continuously learning. So that concept of continuous learning is really important.
All right, thank you so much, Lizanne, for sharing. For the future product managers on the call, I hope you're taking notes. Thank you. So my next question would be to Ms. Shungu. We have a lot of people on the call asking the same question. What is a day in the life like for you as a data analyst? And even then, what are some of the challenges that you face as you go about your career?
Oh, do we have enough time for this? Okay, so in a nutshell, what a business intelligence analyst or data analyst would do is depending on the organization that you work for, you want to be in a position of understanding business questions or problems and figure out a way how data can answer that question. So that's it in a nutshell, but the process involves business requirements gathering. Sounds simple enough, but I'm sure Lizanne would attest to this, but it is quite a process. And after gathering these requirements, they don't stick into your head. You need to document them. You need to understand process flows as well. So this is a lot of stakeholder engagement, and this is where, again, it's not just the tech, it's also about understanding and having empathy for your stakeholders that you and then from there, the next thing that you want to do now is to, okay, now that we've established this business problem, where is data that could help us to answer this question? And which is why I mentioned that it will be beneficial to learn SQL, because most of the time business data lies in databases. So you need to be in a position to go and query these databases so you can actually start your investigations. And once again, a lot of stakeholder engagement, just go back and say, this is what I'm finding out. Does this sound about right? At the end of the day, you want to then create data visualizations that will make all your findings very simple to actually communicate to the said stakeholders. And then from there, it's now iteration. So you've done it first time. And once you've done it, it really opens another rabbit hole where your stakeholders now want to ask again, oh, is it possible to actually dig deeper? And this is where you keep going on and on and on, and you have iterations of the tools that you're going to give. Again, this can be a report, this can be a dashboard, this can be a PowerPoint presentation, doesn't really matter. But yeah, that's really the role.
All right, thank you so much, Shango. So what I'm hearing is a lot of technical skills, but a lot of soft skills as well.
A
Knowing how
lot
to
of soft
communicate.
skills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. And in this, what are some of the challenges that you have faced in your day-to-day work?
I think top of the list is because the role is not always reactive, you need to be proactive. And by being proactive, most of the work that I do, or that you would be doing if you are in BI or in data, is that you end up automating a lot of processes, right? So one of the biggest challenges that I have faced is a bit of resistance, where and it makes sense, right? It's human nature. If I come there, I'm shaking things, you've been doing this 2 to 3 years, now I'm coming and I'm saying, oh, let's automate this process, so you need to do nothing. So this person starts thinking, okay, so what am I going to do in 2 weeks? Are you trying to work me out of a job, right? So remember that stakeholder engagement where you're probing questions, right? Okay, let's find out what your manual process is, because you want to make it better. You find sometimes there's a lot of resistance, and no one wants to share what they do. And it's simply because of that. And again, this is where your soft skills really come tops, because you're trying to now sell the idea to this person. Again, human nature, what's in it for them, right? So yeah, you really need to navigate that part pretty well. So yes, I would say that's the biggest challenge. And if you're a beginner starting out in your career, it is very intimidating, but as you grow and try and like build rapport with your stakeholders, it gets better. But yes, it is a challenge. Yeah, because you're really trying to automate processes or automate reports automate decision making. So yeah.
All right, thank you. Before I move on to the next person, there's something you mentioned there about facing resistance. So in your opinion, as a woman, do you feel like you have to put in a bit more work to be recognized by maybe your teammates and by your colleagues?
I think it depends. Hey, as a woman, like Lisanne said earlier, yeah, things are tough. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Um, I do find myself now it's better, but I am a little hard on myself because I feel, whether it's true or not, but I used to actually feel like, oh my God, I need to work 2 times harder, or I need to prove myself, so that I am graded on the good work that I do. So yes, being a woman in tech has its challenges. And depending on where you're based, if there's people here from South Africa, you're based in Cape Town, you are a woman and you are Black, yes, that is challenging. But what I have learned to do is to build self-confidence, to be assertive, and to speak up. Because I've noticed that if you're confident in what you're doing, and you know you're on the right path and you're bringing value, there is respect. Even though it's not expressly said, there is respect from your counterparts. But is it easy to get to that part? No, it's not. It takes a bit of learning. It takes practice and being confident in yourself. Yeah.
All right, Shongo, thank you so much for sharing. So at this point, I'd like to move on to our product designer, Miss Judith. So we do have a lot of aspiring product designers as well. And could you please just walk us through what a day in the life is for you?
All right, thank you very much. As a product designer, it actually requires, should I say, a lot of things like both technical, soft skills and also hard skills, right? So in my day as a product designer, I work with other stakeholders, engineers, product owners, to make sure that my works are done. And also sometimes, depending on the size of the company, right? There are companies where you have like a product manager who is in charge of, who owns the product. But in my case, I do sometimes do the job of product manager because of the team, the size of the team. So it requires me like writing product requirements for a particular product. It requires me conducting usability testing. It also sometimes it requires me, depending on the product on ground, requires me like doing research for that particular product. So there's no like a particular formula for me. So it depends on a particular product that I'm working on that particular point in time. So it ranges from usability testing, research, writing PRDs, that's the product requirement documents, and also sometimes even writing like proof of concept, trying to show that like trying to prove that this product is worth it, this particular problem we are trying to solve, or this particular solution you are bringing to the table is actually going to scale in the market. So it requires me like writing proof of concept sometimes. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Judith. You've shared quite informative details here. And I'd like to ask, in everything that you do, how much do you feel like technical skills contribute to your role?
Okay, Yeah, so technical skills have actually helped me a lot, like in my product design role, because for me, in my case, I transitioned from front-end development to product design. So what that actually did for me was that it helps me on already as a front-end person, I understand how a lot of things works, right? So now being a product designer, it kind of brings solution, maybe if not 100%, but at least 70% of a particular problem that I'm trying to solve. So it's very, very important because it helps me like with communication skills and the rest, problem solving, user experience of the whole thing. So technical skills like those things have actually helped me a lot as a product designer. Very, very important.
All right, thank you so much, Judith. So for the people on the call that want to start out in product design, what communities would you recommend, maybe learning programs, anything that you have to share so that they can get started as well?
We have a lot of communities, right? We have some of them which are basically like design communities, and we also have some of the communities which are in combination with dev communities. We have communities like Usable, is a design community here in Lagos, and we have the Dribble community here in Lagos. We also have a Figma community, but I don't know how active that community is for now, but we have a Figma community, and also we have other local communities where we have both designers, we have communities like the For Loop community, we also have the GDG community, even though it's looking like a developer community, but then designers too are part of the community. And we also have like communities under some NGOs, not really a design specific community. So there we have both the designers, the developers, we also have the data analysts and data scientists. So, yeah.
All right, thank you for sharing. I've got a few pointers there that I would like to come back to, but first I'll move on to Lizen. But in the meantime, could you kindly just share that list of communities in the chat so that the rest of the audience can have a reference point?
All right, yeah, I'm going to do that. Thanks.
Thank you. So over to Ms. Lizen. You've worked with so many big names. We have Visa, we have BMO, we have Flutterwave. What soft skills would you say have helped you aside from your technical and educational background?
I think soft skills are 50%, if not more, of the job. And as you grow in your career, that becomes super, super important. So I think that's something that people really need to be starting to pay attention to, especially as we are now in a very hybrid environment. Very difficult to always see people face to face, like we're doing this virtually. And I think being able to connect with people in these types of environments and in this new way of working is super important. But the other thing that I would say is, it's sometimes very early on in your career, and I definitely did this myself, you tend to be the one who's very gung-ho and driven, and you want to be recognized and noticed for the work. You want to get visibility. And so that's important. That's important to be able to, showcase your work in a very positive way, to be able to help bring people up around you who've helped contribute to that. But it's also very important to listen. And I think the listening piece of it is not as widely talked about in circles today. Being able to really understand what people are saying and to pay attention and not have your own preconceptions kind of cloud and interpret what they're saying, right? So being open-minded about that. And it's not so much sometimes what they say, but what they don't say. So just being aware of that and paying attention to that is another really good skill. The other couple of skills that I'd say are really important are being able to be open to feedback, to being able to accept that feedback with grace, to reflect on it and to act upon it and turn it into a positive. And the last thing I'd say is, as you start to lead teams, it's really important to get to know the individual as a whole person, not just what they do at work, right? Not just the deliverables that they're being accounted for. And I think that really can serve you well, especially when you're in situations where you have tight deadlines. You need people to go over and above what is normally expected. If you have that personal connection with people, it's so much easier then to be able to communicate your vision and convince their hearts and minds to follow you in terms of doing something and getting to end of job. So that would be my advice on soft skills.
Right, thank you so much. In there, you mentioned leading teams. So maybe just for clarity for us on the call, as a product manager, is your role more managerial or is it more technical?
As a product manager, you're expected to actually bridge the gap between the technical and the business side. And so you really have to be very comfortable talking with the engineers that work on your team, with the designers that work on the team, as well as with the commercial and the business people. And being able, I think I touched on this early on, product management is actually a culmination of a bunch of different functions that come together. Being able to do that effectively is really important.
All right, thank you so much, Lizanne. So thank you. I'll move on to Judith. So we've got a few people that are curious about your mentioning of being a front-end developer. So why did you transition from front-end to product design? How similar are the roles? And what are some of the challenges that you've faced as a product designer? Thank you.
Yes, I transitioned from front end to product design. Well, I can't give, in my own case, I can't really give a specific reason why I transitioned from front end development to product design. But then I felt like I had more knowledge when it comes to product design than front end development. So that was why I had to transition. But then transitioning to product design like does not mean I still don't like touch some things about front end development, but I had to change career. That was why I transitioned to product design. Also, you asked that's the question you asked. Like, can you please come again?
Yes, I just wanted to know what are some of the challenges that you face in your role as a product designer? Because at least for developers, you have to stay up to standard with the latest coding standards. But as a product designer, what are some of the challenges that you have?
Okay, so one of the challenges I had as a product designer, was actually sometimes coming up with some solutions depending on the project, right? Front-end development actually helped me with the technical skills, but then coming up with a solution like that would be sellable in the market was actually a challenge. Also, another challenge I had was, putting my thoughts into presentation. I had some things in mind, but now presenting it so that other people understand that this is what I'm trying to explain to you guys, or this is the solution I'm presenting to you guys. So that was one of my challenge when I transitioned into product design. But as time goes on, you get to learn from people, from senior people, and also improve on that particular skill. So that was one of the challenges I had as a product designer, presenting my thoughts in such a way that other people understand it.
Hey, Judith, thank you so much. So you've mentioned presenting your thoughts, and it sounds to me like you need to have a lot of soft skills in there as well. So yes. What are some of the soft skills that you feel have helped you?
One of the soft skills that have helped me was communication skills, right? Communicating with other people. even though like I had issues with presenting those thoughts I have in my head, but then communicating, maybe getting on a call with people, communicating with other team members to communicating with other team members to discuss those solutions with them is number one. Secondly, empathizing with the users out there, because if you feel the pain that those users out there are feeling, you will be able to understand their pain and also come up with a good experience for those users out there. The third one for me was problem solving, right? Problem solving, like being able to split those problems, coming up with solutions is another skill that have helped me. And like I said, like the next one for me was being able to present those thoughts. You have the solutions in your head. So coming up with a presentation that will make other people understand that the solution you are providing for this particular problem is actually something that when it goes into the market is going to actually sell is another skills that have also helped me. Yeah. So that's the skills that have helped me so far.
All right, thank you so much, Judith, for sharing. So it seems to me like all of our panelists have needed a lot of presentation and communication skills in their roles. So for our audience, I hope that this has helped you a lot in some of the soft skills that you need to have as you're getting into tech. So I'd like to pause here and take us a bit into the personal world, and I'll be asking Miss Lizen. It says on your profile that you also serve as an advisor for startups in fintech. So how do you balance having a lot on your plate with your personal life? You know, when do you get time to rest, to be with your friends, and to spend some time with your family as well? Thank you.
I'll be honest, I think it has always been a learning process for me in terms of how to balance. But I do think that over time you get better at it. You know, the biggest things that have helped me is a strong support system. So whether it be other friends, finding mentors, you know, other people in the industry, having forums like this where you can come and learn is really important. And I also feel like, you know, being conscious about how you spend your time. You know, there are often projects, initiatives, conversations that can take you in a far different path. But I think if you have awareness and consciousness about how you want to spend your time, how much time you want to allocate to your work, to being able to be present and wholly present with family, to being able to find time to connect with friends outside, is really important as well, right? And just being aware of that balance is going to be super important.
All right, thank you. So a balance is key in everything that you do. All right, thank you. So my next question will be for Ms. Shungu. You've shared with us how you started in tech and how you got into data scientist. So what advice do you have for our audience that might be starting their career in STEM, and especially those that are interested in data science? I know that when you're not so into the tech world, you might hear all sorts of things. You might be told that you need to know a lot of math. Some will say you need to learn Python. You are focused on Power BI. So what advice do you give to give people direction as they get started in this role? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Samali. I think I will allude to what I said again earlier, that if you want to start working in STEM or working in data or BI, really focus. Firstly, it's important to keep things simple. Learn learn Excel, right? I'll reiterate that, learn Excel. Once you have learned it, so even if you start moving on to learning other things like SQL or Python, don't run yourself in a circle where you keep doing courses and doing courses. My advice would be, if you learn something, do a project, right, on your own. So if you're going to learn Excel, for example, learn it because obviously you're going through a curated course from week 1 to week 6 or whatever the duration. But from there, you now need to play around with Excel on your own. And I would suggest, if you are gunning for data analysis, for instance, look for data sets online, so you can find them all over the internet, actually, really, to be honest. But you can go onto Kaggle. Kaggle is very popular in the data science or data community. There's a lot of data sets, right? So take the one of those data sets, something that interests you, because then it will keep you motivated. Do something that you've learned in Excel, for example. Create a project on your own without anyone, coming after you for it. Do it from start to finish, as a complete product, because then it builds your confidence and you can actually see how it relates, right? You can relate it because you're using data that you are familiar with, for example, or that interests you. Therefore, I think that way the skill sticks. So whatever course you're going to do, whichever direction you're going to choose, once you learn a technical skill, you would need to do a project. So definitely do a project. That would be my advice. So for Kaggle, that would be Kaggle. So that's where you can get data sets. But really, you can just Google, for example, let's say you want to find out about mortality in Africa, for example. You can just do mortality data sets for Africa, right? And then you can get a whole list. Usually you'll get like CSV files or stuff like that. So use that. Again, make sure it's something that interests you, because it will keep you motivated, versus, yes, absolutely. That's Kaggle. Someone has put in the chat. Yeah, definitely. So whatever you do after the course, you need to do a project of your own to make sure that the skill actually sticks in your head.
All right, thank you so much, Shungo. So projects are key to you learning. So practice is everything. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, thank you for sharing that with us. All right, then I'd like to move on to Lisanne. So what advice would you give to your younger self as she starts out her career in tech? And what advice do you have in general for our audience today?
The biggest piece of advice, I think, is something that my dad taught me, which is, if you find something you love and you start doing it, you will never work a day in your life. So if you are doing something that you really are passionate about, if you really have an interest in, it will never be work, and you will actually do and exceed expectations in whatever role that you're taking on, because there's interest and there's that passion. So be aware of that. I think, we are often always guided into very specific career paths because family and friends tend to think of this as being safe, this as being, productive, and, helps you secure a great future. My honest view is that people who are successful and do really well have found something that there is deep passion for. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of that. Balance, right? Get your technical skills, but balance it with that passion and find a way to figure out that piece of work that really excites you and that makes you just want to keep thinking about it even after work. So that would be, I think, the biggest piece of advice I could share with someone starting off in this place.
All right, thank you so much. So it's key to do something you're passionate about, and it will get so much easier for you.
Yes.
All right, thank you. And then finally, I would like to invite Judith to share some pointers for our future product designers on the call.
All right. So for me as a product designer, I would say, learning those soft skills is very, very important, because you're not just working alone. You are working with a product designer, you are working with developers, engineers, and the rest. So communication, you just have to communicate. You don't have that skills, just go and learn, because that's the only way for you to really work smoothly with other people. It's not as if you can't do some certain things with alone, but as long as you're working with 2, 3, or more than 5 people, collaboration is the only thing that will keep you moving. If not, you'll find it difficult working with other people, or even like in your role. So I would say communication, collaboration is very, very important, because you're not just working alone, you're working with different people from different backgrounds. They have their own way of reasoning and thinking. So communication and collaboration.
All right, thank you so much, Judith, for wrapping this session up with your wonderful words of wisdom. So at this point, I'd like to hand over the mic back to Ore for us to go over the Q&A session. I know there are lots of questions in the chat.
Yes, there are. Thank you so much, Somali. That was an amazing session. Thank you to all of our speakers. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Shingu. Thank you, Lizin. Wow, that was so packed. And I can see, some people already commenting, appreciating the advice and, the words of wisdom that were shared. And, just the last thing that Julie just said about communication and collaboration. Beautiful, beautiful things. Tamali, I think you can still handle the Q&A session. I would just try to remove questions. So I know some people have questions as regards the Women Techsters Bootcamp 2.7, which is currently running right now. So if you have that, please also ask your questions. I'll just separate it so that once we are done with the Q&A with the speakers, we can address all questions about the Women Techsters Bootcamp 2.7. So I can already see so many questions, and I think there are some questions that are personalized, like there are some questions to Shingo, there are some questions to Zane, there are some others to Judith. So Somali, I think we can just start with that. So I will just try to separate the questions for you. Any question that has to do with the Women Techsters Bootcamp, I'll remove it, or anyone that has been answered already, I'll remove it. So Somali, you can just go ahead with the session.
All right, thank you. So our first question would be for Shungo. You've already mentioned that projects are key to learning data analysis, but what are some of the projects that you'd recommend? And this would be similar to another question I saw about whether a data analyst can only work in specific industries or it's a broad field.
Thank you for that, Somali. So first and foremost, let me start with, can a data analyst work in one field or which field? So I think where the industry is going now, and with data growing, it sort of is becoming an expectation that you need to have some sort of data analysis skills. So I don't think you will be limited. You can, so for example, I've worked in consulting, education, fintech. I think that you can work anyway, to be honest. And my advice there would be, so you can leverage your domain knowledge. So for example, there's a lady that I was back and forth with her. She's looking for a job, going for an interview. She's an industrial engineer, but the company that she is interviewing for is actually looking for a data-driven industrial engineer, right? So look, this is someone who studied industrial engineering, but suddenly they need this skill. So literally in healthcare, in education, anyway, I think you can work anyway. And then the second part of the question with regards projects that I can advise. This one is very tricky. I really don't want to give specifics. My advice is what interests you. What are you curious about, right? So for example, like I said earlier, you could be curious about unemployment statistics in America versus Africa, right? Just firstly start with that curiosity, look for the data to feed that curiosity, and then leveraging what you've learned in the course that you'd have completed, do that. I really don't want to tell you what exactly, which exactly project to do, but definitely it has to be something that interests you, because then it will make sense. Things start making sense for you. I hope that they will be answered.
All right, thank you so much for sharing that. I hope they've been answered too. So the next question would be for for Judith. So the question here is, do you need to have an eye for design to be a product designer? And what advice would you give for someone who wants to do product design or front-end development? I think we've already covered a bit about the advice, so I think that would just be the eye for design. Thank you.
Okay, so I won't really say you must have an eye for design before you be a product designer, because under product design we still have like other career path, right? So because product design is not all about design, it requires business strategy, design thinking, user experience, then the UI, which is the user interface. So it's not only on UI. You need to have all these skills too, because you are not just building for yourself, you are building for users, you are building for a good experience when they are making use of your product, and you're also building it for you to, generate money, revenues from that particular product. So you mustn't have eye for design, but then it's actually important. If you have, is a plus if you have an eye for design, because that would also help you to split those problems and be able to come up with solutions that are scalable in the market.
All right, thank you so much, Judith. So the other question that's popping up a lot is it a role that needs a very technical background, or can someone transition even without a background in computer science and coding?
Yes, so you don't really need technical skills to be a product designer. If you have a technical skill, it's a plus for you because it will keep you ahead. But then even if you don't have the technical skills, you can still transition from any other career path that you are into already to product design. When you transition, it's just for you to, learn the basics of design, learning the principles, the design principles, and the rest. So you don't necessarily need to have a technical background to move into product design.
All right, I hope that answers the questions on the call. So my next question is going to go to Liban. One is, what skills? Okay, so the question is based around skills, but I think the real question would be, what is a day in the life for you? Because we've got a lot of questions about what skills you need to have as a product manager. So I think we'd need to understand what some of your tasks are. And then the other one is, what advice would you give to someone trying to land their first role as a product manager? And what can they add to their portfolio to show this?
Sure. Especially, I'll take the last part of your question first. The skills to land your first PM role. If you are looking to be a product manager in a tech environment, so anything that has to do with software development and product as the output, I would say it's really important to understand Agile and to be very familiar with that concept and how the software development cycle goes. So some great courses and certifications that you can do is, for example, the Scrum Alliance. And there are many different courses in that realm around Agile methodologies, and you can become a certified product manager through Scrum Alliance or through many of the other organizations out there. I think that gives people a very strong foundation for being able to break into product management in tech. So the second part of your question was around, what is your day in the life of like? As a product manager, and so if you are managing a product versus managing a team of product managers, as a product manager, a lot of it should be spent waking up and really understanding how your product is doing. So at some point, as a product manager, you need to have a very strong data-driven mindset. You need to understand how different functions in your product are working. How are they generating revenue? What value are they creating? What are consumers gravitating to? Because that then helps you inform what comes next in your product. So having that data-driven mindset and that impetus or that eye to understand what data is saying about your product is super important. You spend a lot of time looking at reports and dashboards to be able to help you understand and make sense of that. The other big thing is then being able to take what you want to do and translate that into requirements that you can communicate to your engineers, to your designers, to your customer service team. So a big part of your day is also spent being able to conceptualize, but then translating that concept into tangible tasks and outcomes that other people on your team can help put together and deliver. And then finally, it's about thinking about what's next. So if you're a good product manager, a good chunk of your time, at least 30% or more of your time, should be spent thinking about, what am I doing in the next quarter? What am I doing in the next half year to be able to make this successful? What are my competitors doing? Having an eye on the competition. And how are my consumers reacting to this, or my clients reacting to this? What feedback am I getting, and how is it going to help inform what comes next in the product roadmap?
All right, thank you so much.
That helps.
Yes, it really does. Thank you. So the next question is going to go to Shungu. We have so many concerns around the same question, and that is, how does one transition from a non-technical background into data analysis? And what advice would you give for securing a job in data science and data analysis? Because we have a lot of people who are coming from outside tech into this role. So I'd just like to know how to get started.
Firstly, again, I will sound like a broken record. So start small, start with Excel, and then you can move on. And then the second advice that I have to people who are pivoting. So for example, you have been working, doing, let's say, healthcare, right? And you want to transition into data. My advice is leverage whatever experience you've gathered. Don't let it go to waste, right? So once you've done courses, for example, and then the projects that you're going to work on, I would assume would be healthcare projects, right? So after you've done a course, do like healthcare projects just for yourself. And if you now want to apply for jobs, desist from applying to junior data analyst roles. Look for roles, and again, some data analyst roles don't say data analyst. They could potentially say healthcare analyst, right? So look for such jobs instead of junior data analyst. Then you go and begin as a junior. Yes, you might be a junior in terms of the tech, but don't let your domain knowledge go to waste. Use that, leverage that with data, right? So the example I gave earlier about the lady, she's an industrial engineer. It takes a lot of hard work to get to that. But obviously, because now there's an analysis aspect to the job, she shouldn't be looking for a junior data analyst role, but industrial engineering analyst, for example. So the other tip would be, don't just, when you're searching for jobs, it shouldn't just be data analyst. It could be under the hood of several other names. Start targeting what you have domain knowledge in if you're pivoting, rather than going to junior data analyst roles. And then the next thing, or the next advice I would give is have projects. So remember that project I mentioned, you can have 5 of them, right? Where you say, look, I learned this, I am in healthcare, but I'm pivoting to be an analyst in healthcare. This is what I can do. So have a portfolio of projects, of things that you've done, because then it helps to start a conversation with whoever is going to be hiring, right? So there's a lot of websites that you can use to host your projects. You could have a website of your own if you want. You could use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is, yeah, like utilize it. It's a nice playground for such things. Work on a project, put it on LinkedIn. I just completed this course. This is the project I'm working on, especially if you've already set out a trajectory that I was in healthcare and need to do health analytics. Do not go for just a data analyst role. It has to, if you are pivoting, it has to be within a domain. Put it there. I would, for example, tag some organizations that I could potentially go and work. Tag there, I did this course. I was curious about this. This is what I have come up with. These are the recommendations I would give. Tag them, right? Yeah, that a lot of people I know have found jobs just by doing that. It works a lot. And again, maybe it depends with where you're based, but it really works. You leverage LinkedIn. Host your projects on sites, link to them, talk about them. Yes, it can become boring, but that's the world we're living in now. A CV can come later, right? Most of the time, if you get a job via LinkedIn, like your CV will come later. The person has already seen what you can do. So that would be my advice.
All right, thank you so much, Shungu. We have a lot of appreciation coming in via chat. So thank you so much for that. So I'd like to ask one more question, and that's for Lizanne. We've got women of all ages on the call, and there's a concern that sometimes middle-aged women are denied opportunities. Maybe they are skipped over for both scholarship opportunities, learning, and for job opportunities. So what advice would you have for them?
Be persistent. Don't let your age, your social economic status, or anything, right, that people tend to put a label on define your future. I think the important thing over here is the people that get ahead are not the smartest and the brightest necessarily. It's the people that are consistent and persistent. If you are there, if you show up, And if you keep applying, and if you keep asking, and if you keep pushing, you will get there, believe me. There's no way you can't. It's when you stop and when you think that it's not working, and you stop and take a back seat, that's when you feel like it's not moving, right? And that's when you feel like you failed. So I think it's just persistence. I think in today's day and age, like Shogun was saying, it's what you do versus what your CV says. And the minute you start that conversation of, I can do this, I have done this, I'm interested in this, I volunteered over here, I've participated in this, people start to take notice, and all of the other external factors like your age, where you're from, etc., kind of fall away, and doors start opening. So it's just having that persistence.
Okay, thank you so much, Linvan. And I think with that, I'd like to wrap up our Q&A session. So Ori, over to you. And thank you so much to our panelists for sharing so much with us today.
Oh wow, thank you, thank you. I really can't say thank you. Like I can't say I'm so elated right now. Thank you so much. I think there was just one last question where someone was asking if the speakers are open to connecting to LinkedIn. I think I want the speakers to answer that. I don't say it. So the panelists, Somali, Judith, Shingo, Lizzie, are you open to connecting to LinkedIn?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
happy to do
absolutely.
that.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Awesome. Very good. Yes, so ladies, you heard that. So go follow all of our panelists, all of our speakers on LinkedIn. Thank you so much, Judy. Thank you so much, Shingo. Thank you so much, LinkedIn. And to our amazing moderator, thank you so much, Somali. I enjoyed this session. I enjoyed this session. It was a whole lot. And of course, I have quite a number of people who have been, on my neck about the Women Techsters Bootcamp. And I'd just like to invite my colleague here at Tech for Dev, Olabisi Etuk. She's in charge of the Women Textiles Bootcamp, and she has all the answers you've been needing. So this session is going to be really quick, and we'll just dive in and out to answer some of these questions I'm seeing. Hi, Olabisi.
Hi, alright. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Olabisi. So we have some questions here. Okay. Yes. So the first question I want to I want you to answer is what's the bootcamp about? Someone is asking, how do I register for it? What's the duration? What is the bootcamp about? How do I register? What's the duration?
Okay, so as part of like saying the bootcamp is a 3 weeks intensive training. That's 2 weeks of core training, a week of you working your project work, where you have a demo day showcasing everything that you've learned so far. So bootcamp is an introductory digital training where you're skilled in the 5 different learning tracks, from the cybersecurity to data analysis, product design, and product management, also software development.
Okay, well, that's a very good one. Thank you. So I have a question here that's asking, is bootcamp better than a university course? What do you think of that, Olabisi?
Okay, so we can't negate the importance of you acquiring a university degree. It is it's equally very important. So the bootcamp would be coming in, say you are thinking of transitioning, or you want to further upskill yourself in the learning track that we are offering. So no, it doesn't negate, one doesn't negate the other. So I wouldn't say you should leave your university degree and go for boot camp. I would say if you have the means, I would advise that you go for both routes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that. So I can see someone asking that, hi, I noticed Zimbabwe is not listed as part of the countries eligible for applying for the Women Sectors Cohort 2.7. Can I still apply for this? I'm Zimbabwean.
So yes, definitely you can apply for that. I mean, for the Women Techsters, our mandate is to empower African young women and ladies. So right now we are, for the last calendar year, we were in 15 countries and we're moving into 22 countries now for this new calendar year. So even if your country is not part of the listed country, please do apply. We would not, because of your country is not listed, that we are not going to consider your application. We would do in as much as you're part of the African countries, we will definitely consider your application.
All right, ladies, you heard that. So one more question here is saying, please, as the bootcamp started, I applied but haven't gotten any feedback.
Okay, so the bootcamp has not started. The call for application went live on Monday. The call for application is going to be open for the next 2 weeks. That is, the application will be closing on the 2nd of July, which is on Sunday, after which the screening is going to begin.
Okay, all right, ladies, you heard that. So you still have about 2 weeks to go register for the Women Techsters Bootcamp. And someone is asking that they're looking to get into software engineering, but they work full time. Can they still apply to the bootcamp? Would that still be able to work for them?
Yes, you can apply. So the way the bootcamp is structured is such that it's very, very flexible. We have 2 batches. Those we have the batch A for the weekday classes, and we have the batch B. So the batch A is the Monday to Friday classes, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's a standard time, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Mondays to Friday. While batch B is actually the classes start from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And your classes is going to be held in the evening. So if you are working or you have to tend to children, you can have your classes in the evening. It's very, very flexible. So you just choose the timing you want, whether you want to go for the batch A weekday classes or you want to go for the weekend classes, which is the batch B. Your classes will be holding in the evening.
Okay, awesome. And someone is asking here that can they get a job after the 3 weeks training?
Yes, so depending on how well you're able to grasp the training, over time from the cohorts that we've had, we've seen boosters finish the training, and they, even before while the training is going on, we encourage them to journal their journey, share on your professional networking platform about what you've started doing, the courses that you're taking. Say you just finished your classes today, little snippets about what you've learned so far. You don't know who is listening, you don't know who is reading, and they're looking to employ maybe a software developer intern. And seeing that alone, they're seeing your progress, they're monitoring your progress. So by the time you finish, they can easily reach out to you. You post about the certificate that, oh, I just finished so course. You send out code DMs to people's LinkedIn. We encourage that. I mean, the worst that can happen is them telling you a no, giving you a no. But if you don't try, you would not know. So yes, over the last one we graduated 970 boosters, and while we were on the call, that's the graduation ceremony, we had about 3 people that actually gave that feedback that, oh, they got this gig, they got this role as an intern. So it's testimony. It depends on how well you're able to also, while you're taking your classes, you're doing further study, you're upskilling yourself. So it depends on how far you know you want to go in this space.
Okay, so we have a number of people requesting for the link already who want to apply. So Olabusi would post it very, very soon. I think last question, there's some questions I saw about can I apply for, because the fellowship application recently closed. So some people were asking if it's okay to apply for the bootcamp, even though they applied for the fellowship, and if they qualify for the bootcamp, does that cancel out the fellowship application? That should be our last question.
It doesn't. I mean, that's actually an addition for you. By the time, if you apply for the bootcamp, by the time the bootcamp is going to be rounding off, I mean, the fellowship would not have started, because the screening process for the fellowship is quite rigorous. So by the time you started your classes for the bootcamp and you've even finished your classes, that would be around the time that fellowship core classes is going to be starting. So please do apply, even if you've applied for the fellowship. It will be a plus to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Olabusi, for such an informative session. Can you just put the link to apply in the chat so people can apply? And I also saw some people some other people had some other questions. So I think we have an email that we could just put in the comments. For anyone who has further questions, they can always reach out through that email. Thank you so much, Olabusi, for that session. And with that, we are slowly coming to the end. So thank you for everyone who has been with us since the beginning of this session, and we've come to my favorite part, which is the picture time. I always like to say that I love to capture memories, and one way by which we do this is through pictures. So, and we have our digital media team already on ground, ready with their, cameras to take all of our pictures. So if you would like to join us in the photo shoot session as an attendee, kindly just raise your hand and I'll promote you to a panelist and we can quickly have our photo shoot. Oh, I can already see quite a number of hands. Please make sure that you're in a place that is conducive enough to turn on your videos as you'd be required to turn on your videos. So I'll be promoting some people to panelist session right about now. Please, once you are promoted to the panelist session, just quickly turn on your video so that we can get ready to take our picture. Bright smiles, everyone. Bright smiles, everyone. So yes, please. Okay, I can already see some people joining. Awesome, awesome. So I'm promoting quite a number of persons in the panel session. Please just turn on your video and ensure that you are in a very good environment, to turn on your video. There is not so much distraction behind you. Okay, I can already see Angela. Hi, Angela. All right, when people are promoting the panelists, where are they? I can't see them. Yeah, okay. Let's just do like 2 or 3 more and then we can get ready to take our picture. Okay, awesome, awesome. I can see them now. Beautiful. By the way, the links to the application have already been posted in the chat section. Please make sure you go there, and also don't forget to link up with all of our panelists via LinkedIn. So if you are in the chat, if you are in the panelist session, please turn on your video so we can quickly take our pictures right about now. I can see some people. Okay, all right. I can already see some other people. Awesome. Awesome, beautiful. I think we have a good number now. Yes, please let's turn on our videos. Hi, Usman. Okay. All right. So I think I would. Okay. Hi, Eniola. Are we ready for our pictures? I would also take some pictures on my end. All right. So are we all ready for our pictures? Okay. Let me. Yes, awesome. Okay, so we'll be unmuting and we'll be saying woman in tech, right? So we'll be unmuting and saying woman in tech. So instead of saying cheese, just unmute and say woman in tech. Are we all ready? Are we all ready? Okay, so all right. 3, 2, 1, go. Women in tech.
Women in tech. Women in tech.
Beautiful. Oh my God, our smiles are so wonderful. I love it. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying up until now. I'm pretty sure you learned a lot. So please go to social media, let people know what you learned from this session, and tag Tech for Dev on all your posts. And of course, make sure that you follow Tech for Dev if you want to know more about any of our programs that is happening. When next any bootcamp is opening, or when next we have the open day or any other program. Ensure you are following us on social media for that. Once again, I'd like to express heartfelt gratitude to all of our panelists. Thank you, Judith. Thank you, Shingo. Thank you, Lizen. Thank you, Samali. This was an amazing session, and we couldn't have asked for more. Thank you so much. And of course, thank you to all our partners who helped Tech for Dev to make this dream come true. Thank you, Microsoft. Thank you, Islamic Bank of Egypt. And we have reached the point where we bid you all adieu. Do have a wonderful evening and a more stressful weekend, everyone. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.